Hello everyone, welcome to this live stream. Going to be the weekly outlook for the week, and yeah, we will go over the markets. Obviously, due to what we have had over the weekend regarding the bombings, etc., I don't have a super strong bias going into this week because, as you may all have seen, we are going to get some opening gaps coming into this new week. I've seen that Euro may open up somewhere around 1,700-800 down this region. Pound, I think it was 1,400-300 around this region. I've seen that gold is likely to open up near 5,400, 5,500 region. Obviously, if we do get them gaps, that means DXY is going to gap higher, meaning USD JPY and USD CAD should also gap higher. So if we just speak about DXY on the weekly first, so we're going to basically create a bias, but don't get too attached to this bias due to what's gone on over the weekend, basically with Trump and whatnot. So on DXY on the weekly time frame, as you can all see, for the past 4 weeks we've been in a consolidation, and that is also replicated with the monthly candle being quite a small body. We have had an inside bar because, as you can see, we didn't take the January high or low wick, so hopefully this month can be a bit more explosive and move a bit more. So my bias is still bearish on DXY. We still have this weekly propulsion block here that we are yet to basically move from. We have tapped into it on this wick here, but if we go on the daily, I would want to see us run a bit deeper into this weekly propulsion block first. So it doesn't mean that we are not gonna not trade DXY. If DXY does show bullish signatures, which it is right now because we're disrespecting bearish PDRAs and we are respecting bullish PDRAs, so we can trade the bullish order flow, and then if bearish order flow then does present itself within the weekly propulsion block, we can then look for shorts. But until then, I am looking at bullish DXY. I'm not showing the chart. Apologies all. What about now? Can you see the chart now? Right then, if I click back on it. Yes. Right. Apologies about that. I'm just getting used to this, so please bear with me. But basically, what I was just saying is we have this weekly bearish propulsion block, and on the daily currently on DXY, we are respecting bullish PDRAs and disrespecting bearish PDRAs, as you can all clearly see. But also still respecting this daily fair value gap here. So until the daily proves otherwise, I am expecting a bullish DXY, which means we can trade euro, pound, etc., etc. So I do want to see a deeper run into the weekly bearish propulsion block, because this is your order block after the stop run here. We trade lower, we trade back into the order block, and then this is the propulsion block level. On the daily, we do have this order block here, which I do think will be the target for DXY for the start of the week. Obviously, with the gaps, if DXY is going to gap higher like I've seen and what I sort of expect, then obviously Euro will also gap lower. As you guys didn't see at the start, I mentioned that I've seen that EU may gap down to 1,780, and then pound may gap down to 1,4300. I've seen that gold may gap up to 5400, 5450 area. So yeah, definitely some interesting moves. But yeah, like I mentioned, DXY, I'm looking for higher to begin with. We'll have to see how we open before we can actually trade, but let's just take a look at the economic calendar for this week. Not that this news may be that impactful for this week. So on Monday, we do have London close news. Tuesday, no USD news. Wednesday, PMI. And then we do have NFP on Friday. So the economic calendar does look pretty good for the week. So I won't be trading Monday, no trading on Monday for me. But going on to Euro, if we look on the weekly, we are now inside this weekly bearish order block. So if this week we close below this up close candle, that will then be a bearish weekly propulsion block, which could mean significantly lower prices on EU, which could take us back down into this weekly week low here. That could be a possibility, but we do have this weekly fair value gap to contend with. So on EU on the daily right now, we have this daily inverse fair value gap, which, as mentioned, if we are expected to gap down, should hold, and then we'll take out these lows. We may come into this rejection block here, as outlined at the past few weeks. So the problem we've got right now is, due to what's going on in the world, we're not sure how these markets are going to open up. So I don't want to do a super in-depth analysis all just for in an hour's time we open up like super lower and everything's invalidated. So it's going to be important that you guys attend the stream tomorrow night on basically market thoughts for Tuesday, because then we will have a clearer picture going into the week. So if we just combine this, if we take a look at GU as well, as mentioned last week, we have this weekly bearish propulsion block because we had a stop run of this high. We then have an order block. We've traded back into the order block and then obviously closed lower. We do have a weekly fair value gap now. So GU could get quite an explosive move down into this low. That will be what I am expecting for this week. Does anyone have any questions? If you have any questions, any like charts you want me to go over, anything like that, please do let me know. Just because I don't want to waste your guys' time with a massive weekly outlook stream, all for it to be invalidated going into tomorrow. We will go over last week's some of last week's price action as well. I just want to make sure there is no questions that any of you guys have. So please do let me know if you have any. If not, we will go over some of the setups from last week. No. So we obviously took UJ longs twice last week. The setup was off of this, knowing now it will probably trade up higher. So we took this trade here on Wednesday, which was a very nice trade. I probably could have managed the trade a little bit better and potentially took some profits. So we had the propulsion block here like so. We entered here. So we were up nearly 2.3R. So looking back now, when something that I've put in my journal and something that you guys should also do as well, when DXY is in a consolidation, as you can see it has been, when we are in a trade and we manage to get 2R up or so, I should definitely take some off, even if it's 50%, just so then you get 1R. Because if we took some profits, it wouldn't seem as bad. So that is something that I've learned from last week, that when DXY is in a consolidation and we're in a trade, from now on, we're gonna, if we get to around the 2 hour level, we'll take some profits, whether that's 50%, 30%, because it's always better to essentially pay yourself. Because at the end of the day, our goal with trading is to pay ourselves. And then we come back down, and was it on, yeah, it was Thursday we took a long. So the long I was essentially looking at on Thursday was, we came back into the 1 hour bullish propulsion block, and then we had a stop run inside the bullish propulsion block. And at these lows as well, we made SMT with DXY, because if we look here, this is Thursday the 26th of February at 2 a.m. and we obviously took the low here. And if we go to Thursday at 2 a.m, as you can see here, we didn't take that low on DXY. So we had SMT form at these lows with DXY. And if we go back to UJ, what I then waited for, I didn't want to end there straight away. We then had another down close candle, and then we disrespected that down close candle, which I then entered around here, and stop loss was around this area. I then ended up closing just for news, because I wanted to see displacement before the news. And the reason I wanted to see displacement before the news was because that would then confirm that this is the low of the day. Because yes, we have the factors of the SMT with DXY, we have bullish daily order flow on USD JPY, as you can clearly see. But if we have no displacement, that then doesn't convince me that this is the low of the day in. So because we chopped around for so long on UJ, I just didn't want to be in this trade. And then, as you can see, it was a good idea that I did close, simply due to us getting stopped out. So I'm happy with what we had here. Obviously, March was a rough month for me personally. We didn't have the greatest of months, but I'm certain that we will end the year positive. So if we take a look here, February was minus 8.6 for me personally. For the year so far, currently down 5%, but we still have 10 months of the year left. So this can change very, very quickly. And this is something I want to basically just go over and keep drilling into you guys, that not every month is going to be a profit month. As you can see, January was a profit month, so that's good, obviously. My performance in February wasn't amazing. I did take some trades that were a bit not great, so that is something that I can improve on, and that is what I've done this weekend. I've gone back over trades, I've looked where I can improve, so hopefully we see the benefits of that going into the new month. But you're going to have losing months of the year. I had a month similar to this last year in 2025. If we go look here, in 2025, we obviously done 29% from May, which is very good. But as you can see, the 1 month where I didn't do great was November. So now I am gaining data that February and November, okay, maybe months where it's a bit not the greatest. So going forward in the future, when it comes to these months from now on, I can see, okay, I have to be a little bit cautious, because from previous experience, that month hasn't been the best to me. But then, as you can see, in June, we had a 64% win rate and we made 11R. So I can definitely still end up the year very positive, but it's more about just following the rules over and over. And this is why journaling is so important, because you get all these stats. And if you don't have all these stats, how are you meant to improve? It's like, say, a footballer or a marathon runner. When they're doing their training and stuff like that, they'll record all their runs, like their heart rate, their recovery after the runs, all stuff like that, because then they can see, okay, say they trained on a Tuesday, but the night before they had poor sleep, and then that affects their heart rate because the body has to work harder because it's tired. It's a similar sort of comparison in trading. I can see from last year, my best days are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that's why this year I need to focus more on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And that's why so far we haven't actually traded that much on Monday. So it's more, I just want you guys to make sure you all have a journal like this, because this will tell you so much more than a payout will. Yes, a payout's good to see, oh, you're making money, but to last long term in this game, you have to have all these stats. So going back to the 2026 one, obviously it's not nice right now seeing minus 5%, but by the end of the year, if we're up, you guys can look back to this this time and think, okay, Tom had like a bad period during the month of February, but the way he got himself out of drawdown and followed all the rules is something I can learn so much from, because at some point in your journey when you guys hopefully become profitable and you trade by yourself and hopefully manage a lot of money, there's going to be months where you have negative months. But if you've never experienced them before, you'll be shocked, and there could be a chance you lose all your capital. But if you obviously sit through this period with me and understand, okay, Tom's having a bit of a rough time, but I'm going to monitor and watch how he gets out of this, you can take that into your own trading, and then it'll become so much easier when you do have a drawdown period yourself. So as you can see so far, Monday, we've only took 2 trades, but they've both been losses of a total of 1.2R. So Friday has been good so far. So we will be focusing more heavily on the second part of the week from Tuesday New York session onwards. That is my focus going into this new trading month. So does anyone have any more questions or anything? Or anything they want me to cover? Please do let me know if you have any questions. I know it's a bit of a shorter video, but it's more I just don't want to do a really big weekly outlook just for it to get violated or invalidated on Monday within the next hour or so. Or any setups they want me to go over. Please do send any charts, because I just want to help you guys learn trading. We're not trying to promote a scam or anything like that. I just want to help you guys to become the best trader yourself. So there should be a chat. If you hover over the chat, it said open chat. See how I've got this chat here? Maybe in the top right. It could be. If not, just pop them in the premium chat and we will cover them there. And I'll make sure for next time it's all sorted. So if you do have any questions, please do put in the premium chat. I'm just trying to get used to this. And obviously it's all more, I think it all looks better personally when it's all in the same thing. It says I do not have a question. Okay, so that's an error on my end. I need to change that ready for tomorrow's stream. Yeah, just if you have any questions for now, please do just pop them in this chat and I'll cover them there. All good, thank you. The Notion journal, it's awesome. No, I didn't actually create. I found it from Magan X. I just seen it and I was like, oh, it's a really good journal. As you can see, it gives you so much stats. And for example, say if you don't trade a pair that's already in the journal, say if you click the journal and say you go to March and you add a page, and say you trade the pair. What pair's not on there? Say you trade GBP CAD. So if if you say GPCAD, it's not there. If you click new and just click new, it's there. And then if you go into the statistics and then go down to the pair stats, see how GPCAD is now there. So yeah, it's a very good journal. You guys can all access this yourself. It's all in the resource section. So yeah, please do use the journal. It will only benefit you in the long term. No finishing also, but agree. Probably not. Yeah, I don't want to just go over stuff for the sake of it. I don't want to waste your guys' time. Do you spread? Yeah, especially with prop firms, the spreads on all, like a pair like GBP-CAD, for example. I'm pretty sure it moves quite nice, but the spreads are just woeful. So if we just remove drawings, so yeah, like here, obviously we're in clear. So here, for example, this is a stop run above high. Let's see on the hourly how that looks. So yeah, here, for example, we had a stop run above a high. We then create an order block after this candle closure, and then a big sell-off. But the spreads here will be like 5-6 pips. So me personally, I just don't like trading when we have such big spreads. It's not the most ideal thing for me personally. Let's say you hit -2% from initial balance. You personally, do you go 0? So my thoughts on this, obviously everyone's different, and anyone who teaches trading will basically tell you a different thing, because at the end of the day, trading's all about you personally. You have to create rules for you personally that suit what your mind can handle. And me personally, I prefer just to stay at 1% risk. Why? Because like you mentioned here, the psychology of dropping to 0.5% at -5, instead of even 5%, you have to double to get, you need 10% to basically get out of drawdown. So me personally, I feel like that will probably affect you more. Because say you take a 3-hour winner, say you're 5% -5% down, and you take a 3-hour winner using 1%, you then only need 2% left to get yourself out of drawdown. But if you're risking 0.5, you still need another 3.5% to get out of drawdown if you're risking 0.5. So that's why I personally always stick to 1%, because I also understand that with the prop firm accounts, there's a high chance that you may not, you're going to get accounts, but you're not going to keep them for the rest of your life. So if you risk 1% per trade and you end up losing an account, but if you're following your rules and lose the account, that's fine. The problem a lot of people have is they get the funded account and they lose the account by being stupid. So there's a big difference from losing the account from being stupid and losing the account from basically just taking 8 to 10 losses in a row. And as you guys all seen, you can take that amount of loss in a row. It happens. Of course it happens. It happens to everyone, but just not everyone will show it. But me personally, I think you're better off risking 1%, just because then you can get out of drawdown quicker. But I do also understand you can get into drawdown quicker. But if you're following your rules over the period of a year or so, you should be okay risking 1% all the time. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to make money. You don't want to be sitting in drawdown for 2 to 3 months because you're risking 0.5%. Like we had that drawdown in February, which was -8%, and we're -5% for the year. If I drop to 0.5% risk now, that's going to take me nearly 12 hours to get out of drawdown. But if I risk 1%, by the time we get 12 hours, we could be 6% up for the year. So you see how it works. And to get 12 hours, that's like, you could have 4 winners at 3 hours, which is sort of what we aim for. I aim for 3 to 4 hours. And by that point, you're out of drawdown and your psychology's 100 times better. So yeah, me personally, I do prefer the 1% risk method. However, if you're not comfortable risking 1% all the time, please do not risk 1% all the time. You have to, the goal of this Discord is to teach you guys how to trade, to teach you the psychology of trading, which is a huge part. But in the end, you guys have to make rules regarding risk and how much you trade for yourself. I can't put that on you because you will understand the markets differently to how I understand them. So does that make sense? So yeah, please make sure that you're taking stuff from me, but you also have to create a guideline and a set of rules for yourself that works for you as a person individually. So yeah, does that make sense? And if that doesn't make sense, we'll wrap this up here really. I don't want to waste you guys' time too much. We obviously have the live stream tomorrow, same time. We're going to be doing daily live streams now. We're going to proper hit the rest of this year hard. And I feel like the daily live streams are beneficial because you guys can all ask questions. Obviously, all will be recorded and uploaded as soon as I can. So yeah, if no one has any questions, enjoy the rest of your weekend and let's hopefully have a good month. So thank you.